yeah, no, I'm not so good yet.
Is he angry or not?
Such a situation would be hard to imagine.
It doesn't leave a good impression.
It's like hurting their pride.
Next bit.
Hello everyone, this is Aikis Channel, and today Aiki and me are back for another video. Today we decided to talk about another interesting topic. I had an opportunity to go to Japan once, and Aiki is right now here in Germany. Yeah, and while being in a country with totally different culture and customs, both of us noticed that there are some everyday situations that might shock you or surprise you because you are simply not used to them, because in your country it is completely different. Aiki and me thought of different situations where we were surprised or where we even had kind of culture shock. And about some of these situations today we want to talk in our today's video. So let's go! And the first situation we want to talk about is public transport. Because both of us, Aiki and me, had a situation where we were confused and where we did not really understand how to do something in the right way. And yeah, when it comes to my experience, when I went to Japan, there were two things that confused me a bit. One thing is that in Japan, if you want to get on the train or bus, you have to stand in line. Yeah, so in Europe, it's not necessarily common, although I'm not sure, maybe there might be countries where it's more or less common, but in general, I haven't seen it in Europe very often so far. And in Japan, I have to say, I had to get a bit used to that. And the second situation that confused me was that when you get on the bus, you are not expected to pay like when you're getting on the bus, but you rather have to pay when you're getting out. And I was a bit surprised when, I think I was in Kyoto when, while I was trying to get on the bus, the driver just showed me, go. So, after I sat down, I noticed that, people are paying, when they get out from the bus.
Just like this. And that's how to do it.
So this was also a bit confusing for me because in Germany, often when you get on the bus, you show your ticket to the bus driver and go inside. But in Japan it was a bit different. Maybe I should also mention that in Japan people use such special cards where you can put money on it, like Pasmo, Suica, Ikoka, and with these cards you can always pay when you get on the bus or subway. So now I'm going to ask Aiki, so what situations were confusing for you when it comes to public transport?
From my experience, that one thing that confused me was that people doesn't make the line to get on the train. This was really surprising for me because in Japan, everyone makes in the line to get on the train or bus, but here, I can't see the line. Even if I come to the station or bus stop first, it doesn't mean that I can get on at first.
It's funny, so it's exactly the other way around. So like, for me it was confusing that there is a line, and for Aiki it was confusing that there was no line. So,
And in Japan, there are usually the ticket gate at the station, but here in Germany, there is no ticket gate. And also, I was surprised to that.
Okay, so let's go to the next situation. I have to say, this is not a situation that was surprising for me, but I can imagine that, for example, maybe for Aiki or for other people from Japan, such a situation would be hard to imagine. And this is about talking casually to elder people or even to people like your boss or Yeah, someone like that. Or also talking to a customer casually. So, totally normal in Germany. Maybe to explain this situation a bit better, I should first say that in German language there are several ways to say you. Like in German, there is formal way of saying you, it's Sie, and there is a more casual way, it's Du. I, for example, had an experience that when I worked part-time, I once had a boss who was totally okay with, using the casual Du. Yeah, like at that place, everyone was talking casually to each other. And for example, in Germany, it's also not uncommon. For example, if you go to the gym and you have like your trainer there, that this trainer starts, saying Du, the casual you, like since the moment you meet. And also just a few weeks ago when I went to Hamburg and I was there with my parents, we experienced in one of the restaurants that the waitress talked casually to all of us. I mean, if she just talked casually to me or to my brother, it would be maybe totally normal, but I was a bit surprised to hear that she even used the casual language when she talked to my parents. So, and I wouldn't say that in Germany this happens always, but it can happen sometimes. And from what I know, from what I heard, I can imagine that maybe in Japan a situation like this would be really hard to imagine. Or what would you say?
In Japan, we meet someone at the first time, we always use formal language. So I can't imagine that. And also, I can't imagine that the waiter at the restaurant talks casually to me. I worked at a part-time job in the Italian restaurant. I always use the formal language when I talk to customer in Japan.
So whenever I tell about situations like this, someone from my Japanese friends, they are always surprised because they cannot imagine such a situation in Japan. Like the waiter talks casually with you, or even I think talking to a boss casually is impossible. Yeah. Another cultural aspect that is completely different in Europe and in Japan, it's the tipping culture, giving tip. About this, I would not say that in Europe rules are maybe as strict as in America, where like people always have to give tip, but still here it's quite common to give tip at a restaurant or a cafe. If you don't give tip, mostly it won't be a problem, but some waiters might get offended a bit. So, and some weeks ago when I went to a restaurant with my relatives, some of my relatives didn't tip, and the waitress got a bit angry. So she said things like, usually people are giving tip here. So like in your face. So give me tip. So but I think in Japan, if a waiter would behave like this, this might be a problem, right?
Yes, it's a big problem in Japan.
So it would be a big problem. But so what do you think about tipping culture?
I would say that we don't have the tip culture in Japan. And when I went to the restaurant in Germany at first, I was confused that how much tip I give to the waiter. In my opinion, the customer service is better in Japan, but nevertheless, I have to give tip here.
You said you were confused about how much tip you should give. From what I know, there is no strict rule about this, but people usually say, if you give about 10%, then it's quite good. So if you give like 10% tip of the price of your order, so And about Japan, I heard that some waiters or restaurant owners might consider it a bit offensive. So yeah, and there are some people who understand tipping as something like, your restaurant is so poor, so yeah, so here you have some help, so yeah,頑張ってね. Yeah, but I don't know. Would you say that giving tip in Japan is considered to be offensive, or does it have any other reasons?
No, I think no. Actually, I was given tip by following tourist once, and I felt that, I was really glad to be given the tip.
Yeah, I think it's hard not to be glad about the tip. Yeah, I remember that when I worked at a catering company, I was sent to different hotels, restaurants, and once I was at a hotel and there was an American tourist group, and we got some really nice tip from them. So I would say much more than you usually get from other Europeans. Yeah. So Americans are good tippers, but it's not surprising, because I think in America it's quite common to give quite a lot of tip. Maybe I heard about 30%, something like this. Yeah. So yeah, because in America, so I heard the tip that the waiters get, this is like the main money that they earn when they work at the restaurant. Yeah, that's why tip in America is important. And about Japan, as I said before, I heard that some people might consider it offensive, so that someone is showing that like your restaurant's poor, or like you need some help, and that some people might feel like tip is like hurting their pride. So but apparently this is not the case. Okay. Yeah, so maybe it starts to change in Japan. So maybe soon it will be also normal. Yeah, but the next situation I will tell you about is maybe a situation I maybe not necessarily experienced myself, but I heard about it in a Japanese lesson from my sensei, and I thought it's quite interesting. And this is about praising or being praised in Japan. Yeah, actually, before I heard about this from my sensei, I already heard things like, if a foreigner in Japan speaks Japanese, even if it's just a bit, so it's common that Japanese people say, 日本語が上手ですね. So yeah, and someone told me once that you should not just easily accept this, but you should say something like, yeah, no, I'm not so good yet, or まだ学ぶことがたくさんある. I still have much to learn. And recently I heard another interesting thing from my sensei. Yeah, first of all, my sensei told that when she arrived in Germany, it was already a while ago. Yeah, there was a situation where she was speaking German, and people around her were listening to her and said to her, yeah, your German is so good. So, and she was like, no, my German is not good yet. But they were still telling her, yeah, but your German is good. But she kept saying, no, I'm not good. And in the end, the German people got angry. So like, why are you like that? We are praising you and you are just saying no. So yeah. This was the one interesting thing that our sensei told us. And the other was that was a bit surprising for me, is that in Japan, it's also not necessarily common to praise one's family. Like when you talk to people from outside, it's not common to praise your own family. Yeah, and for example, if you say things like, yeah, my son is studying at Todai, one of the best universities in Japan, and my brother works in one of the best hospitals in Japan. So that if you just say it like this, so that you might leave quite a bad impression, so that people think like, yeah, you're so full of yourself. So yeah. So what do you think about this?
as you told me that many Japanese people tend to be humble, not easily to accept. Also, if you talk about your family with pride, it doesn't leave a good impression.
But do you like being praised when someone praises you?
Yeah, I'm happy that someone praised me, but I'm not used to being praised. How about you?
Well, I won't lie, I like being praised. Usually I just accept this. I say thank you for nice words. I'm happy to hear this. So yeah, and I maybe also kind of consider of like motivation to go on doing good job. Or for me it's also nice to get recognition if I know that I really worked hard on something, and I think that I deserve recognition for that. So I thankfully accept it. Okay, so next situation we will talk about is quite an interesting and a romantic one. One of my Japanese friends told me that in Japan, if you like somebody and you want to start a relationship with this person, you first should confess, 告白する. While maybe in Europe it's not always common to confess. I mean, there are people who confess, but for example, my Polish friend told me a while ago that when he met his wife, they did not confess to each other, so they just started dating. It's like from my Japanese friends, I heard that in Japan it's you are expected to confess first, and after that the relationship can begin. Of course, if both like each other. Would you say it's true?
Yes, I would say that mostly yes, but some people start to the relationships without confess.
So what does usually has to happen so that people start the relationship? Do they have to talk to each other, or do they have to do something else? What do you think?
In Japan, at first we meet and start to talk, start to know each other, and then go on date several times, or go on date, and then we confess each other, and then start to the relationships.
So this way sounds also maybe a bit more similar to European way. So although I would say in Europe it's really different. So there are people who confess, but there are also people who just do it in another way. I heard that there are also several opinions on if you should express your feelings or not. So there are people who say that you should talk about your feelings first, while others say it's not necessary. But if you ask me, I personally think that confessing is a good thing, because I think confessing makes many things clearer. So communication. Well, the next situation is, let's say it's about politeness and friendliness of, for example, restaurant staff, service staff, but also public transport staff. And I think there is also quite a difference between Japan and Europe. And you already mentioned before that, for example, the service at restaurants is much better in Japan. So can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yes, for example, in Japan, the service staff are always looking around that everything is okay. And also they are trying to keep a friendly and nice atmosphere for the customer until the end.
Okay, so would you say that in Germany it's a bit different? So in Germany that like the staff, the service staff is not always friendly like that until the end?
Yes, I think so. I had an experience that service staff said that next to be dead.
Okay. So it's like they show you, finally I'm finished with you, you can go. I want do the next one, right?
Yeah, and I heard that at the first time I thought that, oh, is he angry or not?
Nächster bitte.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, and I had a very interesting experience in Japan where I was really shocked, but in a positive way, about the friendliness of the security staff at Shibuya station. By the way, if you want to know more about this, be sure to subscribe to Aikis Channel. Yeah, soon there will be a video about stereotypes that Japanese have about Europeans. And in this video, I am talking about this situation a bit more detailed. So be sure to watch this video. Yeah, and the last situation we will talk about is behavior in public. For example, when you are on a train in Japan, you should not talk loudly on the phone. Or for example, playing music loudly. So I think if you do something like this in Japan, yeah, people might get angry at you. Yeah, maybe they won't tell it to you, but yeah, you can be sure that people will look very, very angry at you. Yeah, while in Germany and Europe, well, I wouldn't say that it's considered to be normal to talk loudly on phone when you're in a train, for example. This happens from time to time. People just accept it. So another thing that might make some people angry is, yeah, when you turn out music loudly. Yeah. So also in Germany, I think it's not necessarily a good idea to do this. Yeah, but it happens from time to time. Yeah. So what would you say? Did you have any experience in Germany, yeah, where you saw how people behave like on public transport that, yeah, maybe surprised you?
Yes, I was surprised that some people are talking on the phone loudly, or some people listening to music without earphones. I was really surprised, and I was a little bit annoying that.
Yeah, but I can totally understand it. So, I mean, one thing is listening to music with earphones, but the other thing is when you just play it out loudly so that everyone can hear it. So, yeah, and people who do this, they tend to forget that not everyone is sharing their music preferences. Yeah.
I would say that in Japan, it's okay to talk with your friend or on the phone in the train, but you should probably keep in mind that there are people around you.
So yeah, no matter where you are, be polite to others and yeah, be nice to others. Yeah, so thank you for this nice conversation today. Yeah, it was fun for us to share our experience with you. Have you ever been to Japan or maybe another country that culture is quite different from yours? Have you made any experiences in everyday life situations that confused you? Yeah, we would be glad to read your comments on this topic. And that's it for today. If this video was interesting for you, be sure to give this video a like and think about subscribing to my channel. And of course also subscribe to Aikis channel. Yeah, and we hope to see you again in the next video. Yeah, so bye bye!